And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today I'm taking a look at Alliances. This is the World Domination trick-taking game. Not too often you hear that. Now, as a heads up, I did do a paid preview for this game when it was on Kickstarter. Doesn't affect my review, but thought you should know. A trick-taking game that also has a little bit of a board. That's a concept I like. Let's take a look at it. Okay, so here you have the board that you're going to lay out. This is a 4-player board, and what you do is you take out a bunch of small tiles here, and they're really too small. I mean, for this game, I think they should have been bigger. It's not like people are playing on a table that's the size of 2 hands. But each of these areas, you can see, has 3 different values, and those are the 3 suits of this game. We have political, economic, and war. Political, economic, and war. Those are actually ranked. Political is stronger than economic, which is stronger than war. And so these are the defensive values of each region. So you can see that this region right here has a strong economic defense, but it has no military defense. This is a 4-player setup, as I said, and so 2 players are in the same team, and they have the gold pieces in these 4 corners, in these 2 corners, and the silver pieces are the other 2 players in those 2 corners. You have a deck of cards, and in this deck of cards you have numbers that go from 1 to 12 of the different suits, and you also have special cards that are also one of the suits that are in the game. You are going to take these cards, you're going to deal them out to each player, and then players are going to bid. Players are going to bid on how many areas they can take on the board. You have to start with 10. So I could bid 10 economic. What I'm saying there is I think we can win 10 regions, me and my partner, and economics is going to be the dominant or trump suit. The next person could say 10 political because political is higher than economic. Then I could say 11 military. And we go back and forth till somebody wins the bidding, till the other person passes. If everybody passes, no one bids at all, then you take the cards and shuffle them again till someone wins this bid. Once you win the bid, then the trump that you said is the dominant or the leading trump. And then players will play essentially a standard trick-taking game. If you've never played one before, the person who wins this bidding starts first. So they will play this card, for example. This is an 8 of politics. This means everyone else must play a politic card if they have one. So the next player plays a 3, the next player plays a 9, and the last player plays a 5. All of politics. The person who plays the highest politics is the person who wins this trick. Now, let's say I had said economics was the dominant suit. If you don't have politics cards in your hand, you can play any cards you want. If you play the dominant suit of this game, of this round of the game, then you will win the trick, even if it was started off. But if you play, let's say, military, and military wasn't in the suit, then you won't win the trick. Whatever color was led, whatever the first player played, wins the trick. Whoever wins the trick then will look at the area of the board that you were fighting over. Before you start each trick, you're going to say which area you're attacking. So let's say silver wins the bid, and they say they're going to win with 11, and they're going to win 11 economics. Economic is the dominant suit. So they're going to determine what area on the board they are going to attack. We have a piece here, and you'll put this piece in the thing that you're attacking. You can only attack an area that's adjacent to yours, so they can attack this one, this one, this one, or this one. So let's say they attack this one. They've now played these cards down here that I just showed you, and so the leading player played an 8 political, which is the winning. So we look now at the square of the area that was contested. It has a 4 political defense. That's fine. 8 is higher than 4, so we've conquered it, and we add a silver token to that area, which gives us more options to attack on future rounds. If your card that you win the trick with is not higher than a defensive value, then you cannot win that area. Now you must attack neutral areas until all the neutral areas on the board are taken, and when that happens, let's say the board looks like this, then you can attack other players and put your disc on top of them and capture their areas. I said at the beginning that there was lots of special cards that are in this game. There's actually 12 of them that come with the game, and these can be played as a card when someone plays a trick. They don't count for a number, but they do all sorts of things. For example, this free market will add military to the defensive value of the area. This defensive pack will take the military defensive spot on an area and triple it. There are cards that let you, everyone's cards rotate. There are cards where you can, for example, a peace treaty cancels all military cards that were played that round, or an embargo cancels all the economic cards that were played that round. Global trading will add to the defense for all the regions that are adjacent. So each of these cards has a different factor. So you're going to keep playing using these special cards and winning tricks, and then when the game is over, let's say this is the final game board. And remember again that silver won the bid, and they said 11. So we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. They got the amount of territories they needed. 12, 13, 14 would have worked too. So they win this round. The first person to win 2 rounds wins the game. If you didn't win the round, let's say, for example, they had only gotten 10, and they said they needed 11, then the other team would win. The gold team would win. Now, I just showed you a 4-player game. A 2-player game is very similar. A 3-player game, you have 2 players playing against 1 player, and you each take a turn doing that as the game progresses. I have mixed feelings on this game. As I said at the beginning of the review, I like games that use trick-taking and then have a board involved. I think that's a cool concept. Gangsta is a game I like a lot in that regard from Chile. But this game has that same concept with the board. Now, I mentioned when I was showing the game that I thought those tiles were too small. The numbers are hard to see. It really is true. A bigger board would have benefited the game quite a bit. And in fact, sure, it's neat that you can shuffle the tiles around, but maybe just a board in general. But I guess you could still use the tiles and mix them up. So that works. I felt like the board was just, we were constantly searching. A lot of the special cards you have to reference the board on. All that being said, the board itself isn't that interesting either. Yeah, you can conquer the areas. The defensive values in all the areas are really small. You almost always conquer them. The only way you won't conquer them is if somehow you win a trick with a low number or someone plays a special card with a high number. And that's possible, but also where you place your pieces as you're moving around the board. It just didn't have a really superb, interesting feel to it. Now, the trick-taking part of it, I love trick-taking games, so that part was good, except, and I keep saying all these excepts, those 12 special cards, they all have symbology on them, which isn't obvious. Sometimes it is, like getting rid of the military cards. That one's obvious, but not always. So, or there's one that doubles your opponent's card. Some of those are obvious, some of them not, so you're constantly looking them up. You say, well, you'll get used to them after a while. Yeah, but there's 12 of them. That's 1/4 of the deck. And that just really, I don't know, just kind of bogged the game down. There's also times where many times you play these special cards and they mean absolutely nothing. So there's always this, okay, I win that trick. And trick-taking games are fun like that because you go, win the trick, win the trick. Here you're going, oh, you played a special card. What does that do? Does that affect this? Okay, we got to count this on the board. And it was a little boggy. I think these special cards are great. I think maybe if you had thrown in 3 or 4 of them and then add 4 tricks or something, you would have to obviously rework the numbers. I think that would have been a better game, a faster, tighter game. As it is, I like the artwork, although I'm still not sure why dogs playing poker means anything with the game. The cards look good. The tiles are okay. The components on top of them are okay. But I think I'm going to have to lean towards not recommending this unless you are someone who likes odd and unusual trick-taking games. I enjoyed my plays of it, but I felt like it could have been tighter, could have been faster, and the board itself, while a really cool concept, wasn't interesting enough to make up for how the trick-taking part of the game slowed down a little bit. So this is a game that is okay. It's a trick-taking game with some really neat ideas and some cool special cards that can be played and can have some effect, but the fact is most of the time they don't, and they bog the game down more than they make it exciting. So that's Alliances.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door, yo!
There.